Hello, amazing artists. I'm so happy to see you and welcome back. It's 2021 and we're going to be so creative this year and have a great time. I plan to be super creative and I hope you will have fun being creative too. So, if you remember way back when in quarter one, we spent a long time thinking about identity. We talked about our own identity through self portraits. We talked about where we were born, what celebrations our families have. We talked about how we look, culture, different backgrounds, things that were important to us. We looked at the art of artist Frida Kahlo as well as Carmen Lomas Garza. And then we talked about community art and social justice. And we talked about the poster art of Fabiana Rodriguez, and we made social justice posters for things that were important to us around our community. We also looked at the community advice piece of Susan O'Malley. And then we ended the quarters by talking about elements of art to really get an understanding of all different things, the ingredients that make up art pieces. So as we start this quarter, we're going to be taking more time talking about different artists, learning about different identities of an artist, who artists are, why they create the art they create, what materials they use, and that also helps us learn more about the artist that we want to be and what we want to create. So, for the first week, and for the first couple weeks actually, we're going to be looking at the art of an artist named Jean Michel Basquiat. Many of you may have heard of him before. I know when some of you were a bit younger, we talked about him in our classes, so you may or may not remember that. He's one of the most famous artists of our time. Some of his art just sold at auction house for $110 million for one of his art pieces. You can see his art in New York City. There's many different of his pieces in illustrations, in books, and different things. And this book that we're going to look at today is called Life Doesn't Frighten Me. And it's based off of a poem by another incredible artist, Maya Angelou, a poet and artist. And we're going to talk about her in the weeks to come as well. But for today, I want us to get a glimpse into the style of the art of Jean-Michel Basquiat. So I'm going to share my screen. And one thing I would like you to remember to do is we talked last quarter as well about keeping all of our art together in one place. It's going to be super important that we continue to do that because some of our art's actually going to be used as part of the Black History Month celebration. And I want us to build a little art portfolio about the different artists that we learn about. So we can always refer back, go back, and think about what artists we might be inspired by when we do a project later on this year. So on your paper, you might want to write in your notebook or in your sketchbook, you might want to write the name of this artist. Just so you have it, double checking always my spelling when I spell somebody's name. So, all right. So we're going to be learning about this artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat. So this is a book, and today I want us to just look at the illustrations and think about why these things might be connected. Life Doesn't Frighten Me and some of the illustrations of this book. So artists, they create for all different reasons. Some might create things that look realistic. Some might create drawings that become buildings. Some might create illustrations. Some might create um, portraits, all different types of things that art can be. And I feel like Basquiat really portrayed feelings, senses of place. There's a lot of movement. We talked about movement. We talked about our elements of art. I can feel actually the materials. I can see his strokes. So these are some of his works. These are his actual artworks that got paired with this poem by Maya Angelou. So as we look at it, I want you to look at his style, maybe some repeated themes, maybe what works for you. You notice this one, he did a lot of layering work where there might be text or different images on top of paint, multimedia pieces where he might have incorporated toys or newspapers or book clippings. This has some work about the poet Maya Angelou, who we'll learn more about, and then also about Jean-Michel Basquiat. There he is right here. So I like this says anything and everything Basquiat encountered found its way into his art. Words and images from television, film, politics, and sports, his collection of books, especially Gray's Anatomy. Gray's Anatomy was a gift from his mother when he was getting better from having a childhood accident. Films, old photographs, rare toys, the music of jazz, rock, hip hop that he heard and played, and even photocopies of his own and other artists' work. He frequently repeated images such as teeth, crowns, and arrows, and they soon became identified with his art. The artist's powerful paintings and drawings were filled with poetic meaning, expressed a range of emotions from humor to anger, and uses unexpected media and materials. Basquiat became known for weaving together rhythms and textures of the city, the techniques and tradition of fine arts, and the cultures that so often inspire them. One of the first Black artists to break through racial barriers of the fine art world, Basquiat quickly rose to fame. So that's just a little bit about him. And I want us to think about how, when people might see our work, they begin to see our style, our identity as an artist, who we are. What are the things that we repeat in our ideas, in our art? And also, what kind of messages are we trying to convey? So, this book ties in with this poem, Life Doesn't Frighten Me. And I'll be real with you, there's a lot of frightening things that are happening in the world right now. And so maybe the book is saying that those frightening things don't frighten me, or maybe it's using art as a way to express them and get them off your chest or off your heart and out on the paper so more people can see all the different feelings and see what it feels like to feel all those feelings from somebody else's point of view or even inside yourself. So this week, I want you to create a piece of art that shows me your identity as an artist, or that shows me an example of using the style of Basquiat and shows me some of your feeling. Maybe it's fear. Maybe there's so much going on in the world right now. Maybe it's happiness, or maybe it's both. Maybe it's excitement and fear. Excitement of what's to come, fear of what is. Maybe there's some sadness. There can be sadness and humor. Our art can show multiple things, multiple perspectives. So start thinking about that as you start creating your art. What symbols do you want to use? And I look forward to seeing it and exploring more. This is just the first week of exploring the work of Basquiat and exploring talking about the artist's identity. And we'll continue to do that for this quarter, and especially looking at Basquiat and the poem of Maya Angelou for the next couple weeks. So I hope you have fun doing that, and I hope it also helps get any feelings off your chest and onto the paper or whatever material you choose to use. You can use pen, paper, markers, you can use clippings from newspapers. You can even build something out of Legos. It's up to you. So have a great time. Try your best. It's something new. So just try and expect greatness. I love you all, and I will see you soon.